Denmark looks simple from the outside. Clean cities, bicycles, colorful buildings, a calm way of life. And a lot of people assume that's the whole story. Small country, easy to understand. Already figured out from a few images and a general idea of Scandinavian living. But once you actually travel through Denmark, you realize it feels very different depending on where you go. The cities feel different from each other. The coast feels different from the interior. Even the pace changes as you move around. And for a country that seems quiet at first, it leaves a stronger impression than most people expect. Denmark isn't just one kind of trip. It's a mix of stylish cities, historic streets, coastal scenery, castles, and a lifestyle that shapes the entire feeling of the country. And most visitors only see a small part of it. A few days in Copenhagen, maybe a day somewhere else, and then they leave thinking they've understood it. But the people who actually move through the country, who go beyond the obvious first stop, tend to come back with a much fuller picture. If you enjoy discovering places beyond the usual tourist version, make sure you're subscribed. We explore destinations a little differently here. Copenhagen. Start with Copenhagen, the city most people know first. And at first, it looks exactly how people imagine Denmark. Colorful waterfront buildings, bikes everywhere, clean streets, modern design. It matches the expectation almost perfectly, which is actually part of what makes the experience interesting. Because the expectation isn't wrong, it's just incomplete. But here's what surprises people. Copenhagen doesn't just look good, it feels easy. Walkable, relaxed, organized without feeling cold. And that combination is harder to pull off than it sounds. A lot of cities that are clean and well organized can feel distant, efficient but not inviting, beautiful but not warm. Copenhagen doesn't fall into that. That's what stands out. A lot of cities feel busy the moment you arrive. Copenhagen feels calm. You move through Nyhavn, past the canals, through neighborhoods filled with cafes, bakeries, and people actually living their day. Not performing for visitors, not dressed up for tourism, just existing. And that feeling is something you notice immediately. And the city gives off something that's hard to fake. Comfort, not in a dramatic way, in a way that makes you want to stay longer than you planned, in a way that makes you adjust your pace without deciding to. But Copenhagen is only one version of Denmark, Aarhus. Then you head west to Aarhus, and the atmosphere changes. It still feels Danish, but in a different way. Aarhus feels younger, more local, less polished for tourists. You still get the clean streets and waterfront feeling, but it feels smaller, easier, a little more every day. There's less of the weight that comes with a capital city, less performance, and somehow that makes it feel more honest. This is where Denmark starts to feel more personal, because it's not just about famous views or recognizable streets. It's about how the country works when it's not trying to impress you, when it's just being itself. And that's part of Denmark's strength. It doesn't need to be loud to be memorable. It doesn't need to compete for your attention. It earns it quietly. But Denmark isn't just modern cities and calm streets. Castles and history, Kronborg, Frederiksborg. Then there's the historic side. And this is where Denmark starts to feel more dramatic than people expect. Kronborg Castle, the fortress linked to Hamlet, standing right near the water with a setting that already feels cinematic before you even step inside. Then Frederiksborg Castle, more ornate, more grand, surrounded by water and formal gardens. If Kronborg feels strategic and serious, Frederiksborg feels ceremonial, built to impress, built to last, built to communicate something about the people who commissioned it. And together, these two places change the story of Denmark completely. This is the side of Denmark that changes the story. Because Denmark doesn't just feel modern and minimal, it also feels historic, royal, layered, older than people expect. And that contrast gives the country much more depth. It shows that the clean, calm surface of modern Denmark didn't appear from nowhere. It came from somewhere. And when you see the castles, you start to understand that longer history underneath. Quick question. If you visited Denmark, would you go first for the city life, the castles, or the coast? Let me know in the comments. But one of Denmark's biggest surprises isn't in the cities or castles at all. The coast, Skagen, seaside Denmark. Then you move toward the coast, and Denmark changes again. This is where the country starts to feel more open. Windy beaches, dunes, grass-covered landscapes, small seaside towns with a very different rhythm. The density of city life drops away completely. The sound changes, the pace changes. Even the way people carry themselves seems different out here. Places like Skagen stand out for a reason. At the very top of Denmark, two seas meet. And even the light feels different there. This is the side of Denmark many people don't picture when they think about the country. Not urban, not formal, just wide, calm, coastal space. The kind of place where you find yourself just standing still for longer than usual. Not doing anything, just being somewhere that asks nothing from you. And that shift matters, because it shows that Denmark isn't just about city design and cafe life. It has room to breathe too. It has space that makes you feel the size of the country differently. And for a lot of visitors, the coast ends up being the part of the trip they didn't plan for, and the part they think about most afterward. And then there's another side of Denmark that people feel more than they see. Lifestyle, Hague, everyday Denmark. Part of what makes Denmark memorable is not just where you go. It's how the place feels. This is where people start talking about Hague. That sense of comfort, warmth, and ease that Denmark is known for. And yes, it can sound overused. It gets put on candles and lifestyle products and travel articles until the word loses most of its meaning. But when you're actually there, you understand why it comes up so often. Because the feeling is real. Candlelit cafes, simple meals, quiet streets, a slower, more intentional pace. The sense that people here have made a collective decision to not rush things unnecessarily, to protect certain moments in the day, to make room for comfort even in an ordinary week. It's not just branding, it shapes the experience. And that may be Denmark's biggest surprise of all. A country that feels modern and efficient, but also warm. A country that figured out how to be both. And that combination is rare enough that you notice it. But Denmark still has another layer people often overlook. Food, design, culture. Then there's the culture. Design is part of daily life here. Not just in museums or high-end spaces, but in homes, cafes, shops, and public spaces. It's in the furniture, the way a menu is laid out, the way a space is lit, the way something as ordinary as a bakery shelf is arranged. Things feel considered, simple, functional. But not cold, not sterile, not designed for design's sake. Design that serves the person using it, eating from it, sitting in it. And that same mindset shows up in the food. Denmark doesn't try to overwhelm you. It wins through detail, through consistency, through a standard that runs quietly through everything. And that gives the whole country a different personality, one that rewards attention. So what actually makes Denmark so memorable? It's the contrast. Stylish cities, historic castles, quiet coastlines, a calm lifestyle, and a culture that feels modern without losing its warmth. All inside one country that many people think they can understand from a few photos online. A country that looks easy to summarize and turns out to be much harder to leave behind. But once you actually move through it, you realize Denmark isn't just clean and calm. It's layered. More layered than the reputation suggests, more varied than the size suggests, more memorable than people give it credit for before they go. And that's why Denmark isn't just what you expect. It's more than that. If you enjoy exploring places like this in a different way, make sure to subscribe. There's a lot more coming. And let me know in the comments, what part of Denmark would you want to experience most?